So why do so many ventures fail? And this is whether we're talking about family businesses or whether we talk about SMEs. Why is that the case? And there's been no surprise in quite a lot of research along the lines on it. The first point that's often brought up is that technology simply does not work. And technology also becomes dated. And there are two things, I think, when we look at it. Early stage companies, I always say is, sometimes entrepreneurs become too focused on the technology and they're producing technology where there's actually no need or demand in the market, or the technology actually is already dated, so by the time the company gets momentum, it is nearly out of date. Second point is actually that there's no market gap. And people often say, gosh, that is pretty straightforward. We should all notice, is there is no market gap. But it comes back to markets are moving very quickly. We are now in a global environment where we see if we think of a solution, the chances that someone else has thought of this problem and a similar solution or even better solution is pretty, the chances are very high. So that there's no market gap, so there's no need that we can fulfill with our entrepreneurial business. Third point is lack of finance. I always think lack of finance can sometimes be seen also as an excuse. As we all know, cash is king. And I know there are slightly different financial rules, and in your case, it's not quite comparable to the UK or Germany. But I often companies, or when we speak with entrepreneurs and family businesses, actually they say it's a lack of finance that's causing them problem. Interestingly enough, family businesses tend to outperform firms on this regard because they keep a big box of cash as a reserve. So they are more, I think, especially through the recession, have proven to be much stronger because they had a bigger cash cabinet to help them survive. The fourth point is why do so many ventures fail is tough competition. And I alluded to that. I mean, when we talk, and you've had a series on blue ocean and red ocean, if you had a lot of competition in your case, it is actually seen as, it's very hard to differentiate. You need to compete, and if you are a younger firm in the game, as soon as you get into the price competition spiral, being in a tough competitive market can be quite lethal for a company. Fifth point, and I think the next 3 points really link quite closely together, is what we see a lot is, as sort of I was kindly introduced before, is as part of my role, I look after a program called the BGP, or Business Growth and Development Program, which is for owner-managers with businesses of, say, 500,000 turnover to 30 million turnover. And what we've done is, in terms of research, we looked at what are their main challenges and why do they sometimes come quite close to, ceasing to exist and to survival. And a lot of this is linked to those 3 points, which I'm going to explain now together. First is lack of management skills. What we find is actually just because someone started the business, it does not necessarily mean when they grow the business, they are the best person to continue running it. And they need to also scale up. I mean, we always say the best investment you can make as an entrepreneur is also to invest not only into your staff, but into yourself. The second is ineffective team. When you start a business, it is your baby. And, you want to manage it and you want to control it. And what we see with a lot of entrepreneurs, they, initially they are what we call artisans. So they know everything about the product, they know the market, and they work around it. As the company grows, they become heroes. And what I mean with hero is they do everything. If there's a problem in finance, in sales, in marketing, in research, in speaking with customers, they are the ones who are the hero who manage it. However, as the company grows, that's not sustainable because unfortunately the week only has 7 days and 24 hours, and they need to hire staff. And they bring in good people, and I think, because it's their baby, what happens is they often is what I call, they become meddlers. And what I mean with meddler is their staff come up with good solution and they walk in and they say, why don't you do it this way? Why don't you do it the other way? And so what you're creating is they haven't got the best effective team. And this is often a reason why companies become a struggle, especially if it's linked to a tough competition, to other factors where the team actually cannot compensate and bring it forward. What they really need to become as an owner is you need to become a strategist and not work in the business, but on the business. The next point, which is the 7th point on the slide, is lack of leadership. What is important to see is there's a difference between management and leadership. And we see as with lack of leadership, we mean what is the vision for the business and where do you want to move forward? So it's not only about managing, but it's about leading. And again, not only necessarily the founder or the entrepreneur is the best person to be the manager or the leader. And it's very important to realize when is a good time to step back and let someone else maybe who is better in this part of the job take over for it. The last point is actually industry grows too slow. And what we've actually seen is, especially in the recent years in Europe with the recession kicking in, is that some industries have just really slowed down, which has made it very hard for companies to achieve the growth potential and really sustain themselves. So these are some of the common trends that we've seen as why do quite a few ventures fail. So we've seen, yes, entrepreneurship is very important. They're in very turbulent markets, and these are some of the factors.